Hi, and welcome to CryptoBiography. I'm your host, Brandon Starr, and this is episode 98, The Last Zombie Hunter, Part 7. And if you remember correctly, Mackenzie had gotten her first period, and Fred was sort of put on the track of thinking about an ex-girlfriend who he has not seen for some time, and ended up kind of thinking on her in ways that he hadn't remembered, that he hadn't felt that he thought about her. Anyway, if you have comments or questions about this episode or previous episodes, cryptobiography@gmail.com, or hit us up on Twitter or Facebook. And here we go. I had mostly dried my tears when Mackenzie came out of the bathroom. "How'd it go?" I asked. She said, shrugging. "How long will the supplies last?" "Like I know? This is my first time. I think I need a few a day times however many days. It's supposed to be 5, but who knows? Looks like another trip to the market tomorrow, maybe before we do the water." She just nodded and went to her bedroom. About an hour later, I went in with a bit of food and a glass of water. She was awake. "Thought you could use a little something." "Thanks," she said, taking it mechanically. "You know something?" "What?" "My mom did the talk with me not that long before Big Z. She didn't think the school was going to teach enough, and it didn't. So I think I have a handle on this." "Good. Also," she continued, "I want to thank you, because I was on the run for all those weeks until we met. I was so stressed out. I think I would have had this before now, but my body was in crisis mode. This means that, at least a little bit, I'm closer to normal. So, thanks." "You're welcome," I said. I couldn't think of anything else, so I just asked, "Need anything?" "No, I'm good." "Okay," I said. "Want company?" "No, I think I'll try to get some sleep." "All right," I said. "Sleep well." I spent that night thinking about Julie and sleeping rather worse than I should. I was over her, really over her, wasn't I? But Mackenzie's little discovery had brought back a lot of feelings. Apparently Julie had thought she would be around long enough to need supplies. How could I have messed that up so badly? I was so focused on getting my store going, and when she left, I told myself it was the price of success and moved past it. But I hadn't. Not really. It was still with me. She was still with me. And now she must be dead or undead. The next day was going to be 2 trips. We really needed to get back to the grocery store for period supplies, but we were getting low on water too. Early that morning, I told Mackenzie, "Let's do the trips separately. We'll take care of the grocery store run first, then come back here, drop it off, make sure we're ready, then get the water." Partly to be able to carry more on each trip, and partly because I don't know the path from the grocery store to the creek nearly as well. "Crick," Mackenzie said. "Sorry?" "You said you grew up around here, but you don't pronounce it crick?" "Oh," I said. "No, I just like creek better. Maybe I watched too much TV as a kid, picked up the national pronunciation instead of our local word. Anyway, let's get that grocery run done." The run went well. We moved building to building, as we always did, and saw only 3 zombies. They were no threat to us, as they were all crouched over someone, feeding. We tried not to think of it, and we managed to keep from getting their attention as we moved past. "Maybe there are a few humans around here still," Mackenzie said, a few buildings down. "Must be. I've never seen them eat one of their own," I said. We were almost there. The parking lot had exactly the same cars as ever, as far as I could tell. They weren't going anywhere. One of our rules was to avoid cars. Too many unknowns. First, we'd both seen zombies under cars before, and it was also easy for them to be behind the cars, between them, hell, even inside them. So we skirted the parking lot, but with a good amount of space to one side, so we would have warning if anything came lurching at us. But we made it inside without trouble. We went off to the right. The feminine products aisle was right around the boundary between the aisles that had food and the aisles that had other things. While Mackenzie went down that aisle, I kept watch. Also, my eye was caught by a display of some flashlights. They were on sale. I giggled to myself when I thought of that. Nothing was on sale anymore. I wonder if that phrase would even survive to whatever came next for humanity. The flashlights were LED and so very efficient. They took C-cell batteries, and there was a little display of C-cells there too, so people could buy both at once. I popped open a couple of flashlights from their packaging using my knife and some twisting motions. Then I put 2 C-cells in and turned it on. It worked great. I kept my eyes and ears open while I attached that one to my belt and prepped another one for Mackenzie. Then I put some C-cells, still in their packaging, in my bags. With another look around for safety, I headed up the aisle to Mackenzie. "Got everything?" I asked. "Yeah," she said. "This stuff is really bulky. I won't be able to pick up much food before my bags are full." "Oh," I said. "No problem. Here's an LED flashlight." "Thanks," she said, taking it and putting it in her bag. "Let's move." We decided to try to pick up some canned food. Efficient it wouldn't be, but it would have the massive benefit of being new. Whether it was smart or not, we were tired of the same few dried foods all the time, and were willing to schlep some water weight to change our diet. We went down the international foods aisle, which in this little town meant Mexican and Asian food. There were some cans of black olives. "You like olives?" I asked. "Love 'em." "Great." I took 4 cans. Olives I knew would last for a little bit, even after opened, and even without refrigeration. A lot of foods wouldn't. Pineapple?" Mackenzie asked. My nod caused her to put up several cans in her pack, which was full already. "I'm full up. Let's grab some more for your pack and GTFO. I had figured out what GTFO meant within the first hour of meeting Mackenzie. "Hey, above the pineapple is Spam." I started grabbing tins and chucking them in. "Before Big Z, I would have wondered if there was something wrong with you," she said. "Now I just think, wet meat, yum. No jerky for us for a while." I filled my bag with the 10 or so cans that were there. It was already getting heavy. "I say toilet paper," I said. "Hell yes." We went there, and I filled up the bag. There wasn't really all that much room for something as bulky as TP, but I crammed in a couple of 4-packs, smushing them down, and closed the pack. Then we heard a noise. Someone had come inside, and they were screaming. This grocery store, like all others, had no windows we could see to the outside, so it wasn't surprising that we heard nothing until she came in. "Don't come in screaming. Don't ever come in screaming," Mackenzie said, almost under her breath, as if she were coaching the woman. For women, it seemed to us to be right away, and she was coming nearer. Also, there were clearly the moans of the hungry dead. We both started backing up slowly. We were halfway down an aisle, and instinctively we wanted to be somewhere with more than 2 options. The woman came into view and ran more or less straight at us, but she was limping a bit, or something else was wrong, and they were catching up with her. It was Julie. My breath hitched. But no, of course it wasn't Julie. Some part of me just wanted it to be Julie, because I was thinking of her. Julie didn't have quite that color hair, and wore it shorter than this woman, whose hair went past her shoulders. And I was thinking of these mundane things when the woman sprawled down not 15 feet from us, and she was reaching out when they caught up with her, and her hand was splayed out to us, grasping, desperate, and she was screaming, but not words, just the hopeless cry of the prey animal as it falls beneath the teeth of its killers. But if zombies are at the top of the food chain, doesn't that mean they control the world, I thought? If might makes right, then aren't these the rightful kings who have deposed us poor living animals? And she had disappeared but for her fingertips, like a drowning victim. But we were above her, and she was below in a sea made of dead flesh and teeth and rheumy eyes. And I had grabbed Mackenzie, made sure she wasn't lost, and we both turned and ran, for surely this tide of charnel smells and filthy fingernails would follow us, some after the feast, but some immediately denied their place at the table and looking for another smorgasbord. And we knew, in theory, the way out the back, through the emergency exit, but we'd never had to try that theory, as the front of the store was the side closest to my house, and this was at the opposite end. But now we would test it. We ran, and we heard the noises get quieter, yes, but then steady out, as we had some number of the dead following us. We were faster, alive, our blood pumping hard and our breath coming heavy already, panic mixing with the other adrenalines. We outdistanced them. We almost plowed through the emergency exit, but at the last moment I slowed her down. If successful in getting away from them, let's not alert anything outside that we're there. We pushed the emergency exit, and mercifully it did not have a battery alarm, or any battery it had, was now dead. The doors then swung closed behind us. No way to open them from our side, not that we were looking to, but the blank face of the doors was unnerving, almost unnatural, as though they were under control of some malevolent spirit. We got away as quickly as we could. There were no zombies outside yet, and we made our way through a couple of buildings to get out of line of sight with the grocery store. The moans were just audible, but we didn't want to chance it. The woman's cries may bring the dead still, even if she is no longer uttering them. It was in a state of post-shock that we got to our home and, with hands shaking, managed to climb the ladder and pull it up after us. And that's the end of the episode for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any comments or questions about this episode or previous episodes, CryptoBiography@gmail.com or hit us up on Twitter or Facebook. And thanks for listening. Copyright 2019, CryptoBiography LLC, all rights reserved. Characters and events are fictional, fictionalized, or satirical.